My name is Marin Ellery, and I'm 29 years old. Competence doesn't perform, it hums. The dishwasher slipping to off-peak at 12:01. The budget sheet exhaling when the last cell flips green. The way a quiet apartment can hold its breath and still, somehow, keep the roof up. I like ballast. No one praises ballast until the boat lists. Tuesday night used to feel like a harbor. The lamp cut a soft triangle across the rug we picked together, which mostly meant I paid and Cole approved. The TV murmured a documentary about abyssal fish that survive under crushing pressure. I watched their strange bodies glow and thought, absurdly, about how calm they look in the dark. Cole sat on the other end of the couch, half turned away, thumbs moving with the muscle memory of a magician palming a card, the kind of casual secrecy that pretends it's nothing. "Work?" I asked, gentle. "Yeah," he said, eyes on the screen, his screen, not mine. A little draft ran under the door of the moment. I felt it in my ribs. "My phone's in the bedroom," I said. "Can you check if that Thai place is still open?" There was a sale I'd been tracking. I reached for his phone because that's what we'd always done, swapping screens to look up directions, playlists, menus, normal couple stuff. He moved faster than I knew he could, snatching the device to his chest. "I'll check." The screen blinked a new lock. My fingerprint didn't register. Of course it didn't. The wallpaper, once he saw us at the lake, was now a gradient he'd never pick. I heard myself ask it casually, like asking the weather. "Did you change your password?" The room snapped. "God, Marin, you're suffocating me." His voice ricocheted off the glass. A red I'd never heard strained it thinner. All the old phrases arrived like a prepared speech. Privacy, boundaries, control. Why do you need access to everything? My hands were quiet in my lap. I asked a question. "This is exactly what I mean," he said, already gathering steam. "Questions, questions, questions. I can't breathe with you." The documentary fish drifted across the screen, glittering under impossible weight. Somewhere inside my chest, something unclenched, a small, decisive click. You mark moments like that not because they're loud, but because the hum changes pitch. He stormed down the hall, the bedroom door slamming hard enough to rattle frames. 20 minutes later, he emerged with a duffel he never used for the gym. The zipper was a sharp little wound. "I'm going to Jasmine's," he said, naming the friend with a smoothness that sounded practiced. "I need space." "Okay," I said. Not icy, not warm. A word that sat upright and didn't lean. He paused at the door, checking the time like an alibi might fall out of it. Maybe he expected begging. An apology speech. I turned my face toward the deep-sea creatures, watched one open its luminous mouth. "You're right," I added softly. "I'll give you space." The latch clicked. The apartment took a long breath, like a diver returning to the surface. Here's the architecture no one posts on Instagram. The condo is mine. I bought it 2 years before I met Cole. He moved in, contributed to groceries when he remembered, utilities when I prodded. I furnished the place, handled the maintenance, paid the HOA dues that keep the elevators from stranding you between floors. Not because he couldn't help. He said he was saving, building a cushion before launching his design portfolio. 18 months of saving, not a single invoice sent. That night, I set my phone on the counter and let the hum of competence take over. I looked at our relationship without the soft filter. Work friends I'd never met. Late nights that arrived without context. Stories that didn't align if you lined them up under a lamp. The password change felt less like a new offense and more like the last domino finally reaching the edge of the table. Wednesday morning, I made decisions. Quiet ones, the kind that don't need witnesses. First, the locks. It cost me $300 for a good smart system with logs that tell you who tried and failed. I named the new code Breath. Petty? Maybe. Honest? Absolutely. Second, logistics. I texted him. Your belongings will be boxed and placed in storage room B12. Code 2024. Please pick up by Sunday. The response was immediate and operatic. 17 messages unfurled like a parade of bright, angry flags. You can't do this. It's my home too. Illegal eviction. Psycho control freak. We're not broken up. I just needed a break. Answer me. I sent one reply. You asked for space. I'm respecting that. This is the space you requested. Then I muted the thread and opened the first closet. Packing tells stories you didn't know were being written. designer shirts with tags still on, for a man who called himself minimalist, a cologne he never wore at home tucked into a gym bag he rarely used, a receipt from a restaurant across town dated the week he said he was editing with Jasmine. I made neat stacks. I labeled boxes, clothes, bathroom, desk. The steadiness of cardboard and black marker kept my hands from shaking. In the desk drawer, beneath a sheaf of cables, I found printed emails. Printed. Whoever prints emails in 2025 either needs paper in their hands to feel real or expects to be caught and needs to control the narrative. The sender line pinched my heart once, then let it go. Erica Vale. Can't wait to see you again, beautiful. Last night was incredible. When are you leaving her? I didn't read more. I slid the stack into a folder labeled Desk, M-A-S-E, and set it gently in a box. The apartment seemed to tilt, then right itself. The fish on the TV flickered in my head. Pressure, luminescence, survival. By noon, the doorbell camera captured the world I'd chosen. A courier dropping off the new lock warranty. The building manager, Ms. Delgado, leaving a friendly note that said to call if I needed an extra dolly. When the phone rang with the name I recognized from holiday dinners, I let it. Marin, this is Patricia, Cole's mother, usually sugared, today straight. What did you do to my son? I gave him space, I said. You changed the locks. He's hysterical. He said you're... Did he tell you he changed his password and screamed at me for noticing? I asked, polite as cutlery laid on linen. Did he mention Erica? Silence over the line, the kind that rearranges furniture. Who's Erica? Ask your son, I said, and because there was nothing else to do that wouldn't goad the fire, I added, his things are in B12. The code is 2024. I ended the call and taped the last box shut. The tape made a clean sound, a drawn line. Friday morning at 7, the door camera bloomed with his face. Stubble, last Tuesday's hoodie, a boy who'd mislaid his script. He banged, and I answered through the intercom. Your things are in storage room B12. We need to talk, he said, the way drowning people ask for a different ocean. You wanted space, Cole. I'm giving you space. This isn't what I meant. I'm not being dramatic, I said when he tried the word on me. I'm being literal. You said you couldn't breathe. Now you have all the air. He tried tears, then threats, then nostalgia. 3 years, Marin. You're throwing away 3 years. The years were in the boxes, neatly labeled. I didn't answer again. The elevator doors closed on him with the gentlest sigh. I stood in my kitchen, hands braced on the counter, and let the steadiness come back. Somewhere a timer ticked toward noon when the dishwasher would hum. Somewhere abyssal fish drifted like lanterns under a world of weight. I had believed in ballast. It turns out ballast believes back. You just have to put it where it belongs. The first full day without him felt like a test of acoustics. Every sound in the apartment bounced differently. One toothbrush missing from the holder, one pair of sneakers gone from the doorway. I half expected the silence to hurt. It didn't. It expanded. By Thursday, the narrative machine was already grinding. Patricia called again, her tone caught between fury and fear. Marin, you can't just throw someone out. He says you locked him out of his own home. Patricia, it's my condo. I have the deed and mortgage statements if he's forgotten. That's not the point. He's distraught. He said you're controlling, that you monitor his phone. Did he tell you about Erica? The phone went quiet. Who's Erica? Someone who says last night was incredible. Someone printing love emails in my desk drawer. Patricia's breath fluttered like paper before she hung up. By noon, Cole had gone from remorseful to righteous. A new wave of texts blinked through. You can't do this to me. I'm coming home. We need to talk. No, we didn't. I texted back, your items are still in B12 until Sunday. After that, they'll be discarded. He arrived anyway, pounding the door so hard, the smart lock chimed an error tone. I answered through the intercom. You wanted space, Cole. You said I suffocated you. I'm giving you room to breathe. Marin, you're overreacting. You can't just erase me like this. I'm not erasing. I'm decluttering. The hallway camera caught him standing there, jaw tight, muttering to himself before leaving. The image auto-saved to cloud storage, a feature I suddenly appreciated. That evening, his best friend Jasmine called. The tone was falsely casual. Hey, I'm downstairs. Cole forgot some important stuff. Everything he owns is labeled and stored. What's missing? His grandmother's watch? I almost laughed. I've met his grandmother. She wears her watch every Sunday at brunch. Pause. Okay, Then he just needs his laptop for work. I smiled at the phone. You mean the laptop I bought him for his birthday 2 years ago? The one he said was too slow to use? It's in his box labeled Desk B12, code 2024. Click. Friday morning brought a new number, unknown. Hey, this is Erica. Woman to woman, what you're doing to Cole is cruel. He just needed time to figure things out. Woman to woman, I wanted to laugh. Instead, I took a screenshot. Proof accumulates better when you don't feed it words. That night, I remembered the old login Cole had used for his design portfolio. He'd borrowed my laptop once to update his site. His login had auto-saved. Curiosity is a slippery word. It disguises self-defense. The site was thin, a few sample projects and a Contact Me page. But in the admin section, dozens of messages waited. Not client requests. Personal notes. From Erica. He's asleep beside me. You'd laugh if you saw how he drools. I can't wait until you're free. From Cole. She suspects something. Need to be careful. I'll tell her soon. From Erica again. Don't chicken out. I'm not being a secret forever. I read until my stomach felt hollow. The timestamps matched weekends he claimed to be visiting his mom. I exported screenshots, dates, subjects, and his username displayed in the corner. I didn't reply. Didn't rage post. Evidence doesn't need emotion to stand. Saturday morning, an email dropped into my inbox titled Legal Notice. The sender address? lawofficecolehelp@gmail.com. Dear Ms. Ellery, it has come to our attention that you are unlawfully withholding Mr. Cole Bennett's personal property and have changed residential locks without proper notice. Please contact us immediately to arrange retrieval before we pursue legal action. I forwarded it to Noah, an old college friend who's now a real lawyer. His reply arrived 2 minutes later. LOL, that's not a law office. No licensed attorney uses Gmail. Also, he's not a tenant. Tell them to pound sand. I wrote back professionally. As previously communicated, all belongings were made available for retrieval. No landlord-tenant relationship exists. Please do not contact me again. Then, out of courtesy, I blocked the address. By evening, I learned what damage control looks like in the age of soft filters. A mutual friend, Lena, sent me screenshots from Cole's social feed. Some people show their true colors when you ask for basic respect. 3 years of love thrown away because I needed privacy. Ladies, beware controlling partners. The comments split sympathy and skepticism. Then Noah, bless him, commented from his real account, "Didn't you cheat on her with someone named Erica?" The post vanished within the hour, but the quiet afterward was deceptive. Saturday night, the building manager called. Ms. Ellery, there was an incident. A woman tried to get maintenance to let her into your unit, said she'd lost her key, showed an old picture of you two as proof she lived here. Let me guess, I said. Cole? She became aggressive when they refused. Security escorted her out. We're banning her from the property. I thanked her and promised to drop off donuts for the staff. Sunday dawned too still. I should have known he was recalibrating. At 11 a.m., my phone began vibrating nonstop. Calls, texts, email pings, family, friends, coworkers. I opened one message and froze. Cole had sent a mass email using my contact list. Subject: Concern for Marin's mental health. Dear friends and family, I'm reaching out because I'm worried about Marin. After 3 years together, she's had some kind of breakdown. She changed the locks while I was visiting my sick mother, threw out my belongings, and is now spreading lies about me. I've tried to get her help, but she refuses. Please reach out to her and encourage her to seek professional assistance. With concern, Cole. The sick mother part almost made me laugh. Patricia was healthy enough to play doubles tennis every Tuesday. My phone rang again. Mom. Marin, what is this email? Are you okay? I'm fine. He cheated, Mom. I have proof. He's trying to rewrite the script. Silence. Then the tone I grew up trusting. Firm. Calm. Forward me the screenshots. I'll handle the family. She did. By evening, my relatives were sending one-line confirmations. We got your side. He's blocked. Proud of you. But that stunt deserved a response, not revenge, just correction. I compiled the receipts into a single Google Doc. Screenshots of his messages to Erica. The printed emails I'd found. Texts where he admitted needing space. His social posts claiming victimhood. No commentary, just timestamps and context. Then I hit reply all to his mass email. Since Cole chose to involve everyone in our private life, here are the actual facts. Make your own judgments. The silence that followed was the best sound I'd heard all week. Within an hour, Patricia called again, her voice cracked and small. Is this real? Every word, I said. She told me you monitored her phone. I asked why she changed her password once. That was the entire crime. Patricia hung up. Later, Lena texted me that Cole was getting an earful at home. Apparently his father wasn't impressed by his ethics. By Monday, even the building felt different, lighter, like it understood boundaries now. That night, I sat by the window, watching streetlights blur against glass, and thought about how stories flip. He'd wanted privacy so badly he created a world where no one wanted to look at him. Sometimes the air you beg for is the air that leaves you standing alone. By Tuesday morning, the chaos had gone eerily quiet, like the moment after a siren stops, when your body's still vibrating from the noise. No texts, no calls, just a silence so thick it felt deliberate. I should have known he was planning something. At 3:40 p.m., Miss Delgado, the building manager, called. Ms. Ellery, just wanted to update you. We had another incident today. Cole again? She sighed. He tried to come in with a locksmith. Told them he was locked out of his apartment. Claimed you were his abusive ex. Security got there before the locksmith drilled anything. I pressed a hand to my forehead. Did you call the police? We did. They asked him for proof of residency, lease, mail, anything. He couldn't provide it, so they gave him a formal trespass warning. He's banned from the property. If he steps foot here again, he'll be arrested. When she hung up, I laughed. Not from humor, just disbelief that someone could build a fantasy so detailed he believed it himself. That night, Lena messaged me. He's posting again. Claims you called the cops because he wanted to talk things out. I typed back. He forgot to mention the locksmith. The next morning, my inbox bloomed with one more message from Patricia, short, brittle. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm so sorry. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Wednesday evening, as I came home from work, Noah called. Guess who sent me a second fake legal threat, he said. I closed the door behind me and kicked off my heels. Let me guess. Gmail again? Hotmail this time. Classy. We both laughed until the tension drained. Then Thursday arrived, and with it, his last desperate act before everything imploded. At 8:07 a.m., my phone pinged again. Subject line, to everyone who cares about Marin. Another mass email. Dear friends and colleagues, I'm writing because I'm worried about Marin's behavior. She's unstable, paranoid, and spreading false rumors about me. I just want her to get help. He'd attached a selfie. Red eyes, tousled hair, dramatic lighting. The kind of performance that begs for pity. I didn't reply, but I did something better. I created a new Google folder titled Receipts. Inside, I dropped everything. The screenshots, emails, his earlier posts, the police report Delgado sent, timestamps, property proof. Then I compiled it all into a single PDF. The title, The Truth About Cole Bennett and Erica Vale. No commentary, no bitterness, just facts. And then I did exactly what he had done, replied to his mass email with one line. Since Cole shared our private matters publicly, I believe transparency is fair. Please review the attached document and make your own conclusions. Send. Within 15 minutes, my phone started lighting up again. But this time, the tone was different. First, Patricia. Marin, is this all true? Every word. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. He told me you were controlling, that you tracked him. I asked about a password once. She inhaled sharply. He's my son, but I can't defend this. Thank you for being honest. Later that evening, Richard, his father, called. It was the first time he'd ever reached out directly. Ms. Ellery, I wanted to apologize. Patricia showed me everything. We didn't raise him to behave like this. You don't owe me an apology. We've been enabling him, covering his bills, his excuses. That ends now. He's moving back home, but not for long. 30 days to get a job and a place of his own. When the call ended, I sat in the dim light, the city noise washing up through the windows. There's a strange peace and truth finally standing on its own. It doesn't need your defense. It just breathes. Friday, 7:32 a.m. The doorbell camera pinged again. I opened the feed, expecting another confrontation. Instead, it was Ms. Delgado holding a clipboard. "Good news," she said through the speaker. "We've filed the police report. He's officially trespassed. If he returns, they'll arrest him." "Thank you," I said, truly. I bought the building staff coffee and pastries that afternoon. You learn quickly who your real allies are, not the ones who comfort you, but the ones who enforce your boundaries. By Sunday, word had traveled through mutual circles. Lena texted, "He's claiming the docs were fake. Says you photoshopped everything." I replied with a single screenshot, his own email header with timestamps and IP address, proof he'd sent the messages to Erica from our shared Wi-Fi. Let him keep talking. The truth's already archived. That night, Patricia texted one last time. "He's furious, but maybe this is what he needs. Sometimes falling flat is the only way people learn gravity." I stared at that sentence longer than I expected. Gravity. That's what this all was. What love becomes when it loses its orbit. Monday morning, silence again. I thought it was finally over. But as the week unfolded, I learned that when you strip a narcissist of attention, they don't vanish. They escalate. There's a phrase I read once. Extinction burst. It's what happens when a behavior that used to get results that suddenly stops working. The person or animal doesn't give up. They escalate. Louder, riskier, more desperate attempts to get the old reward. By week 3, Cole's burst arrived in full technicolor. Monday, 10:18 a.m., Ms. Delgado emailed a police report. The subject line read simply, "Incident. Attempted entry." Cole had returned with a different locksmith, claimed again I'd locked him out of his home. When security intervened, he doubled down, calling me abusive, unstable, vindictive. The officers asked for proof of residency. He had none. No lease, no mail, no name on the bills. The locksmith bolted. Cole stayed until the police cited him for criminal trespass. He spent 6 hours in holding before his mother bailed him out. I found that part out later from Lena, who got it from Jasmine, who was now thoroughly done playing messenger. Patricia looked wrecked, Lena wrote. Richard refused to come get him. He told her Cole needed to face consequences. The conditions of Cole's release were simple. No contact, no proximity to the property. You'd think that would have been the end. It wasn't. 3 days later, Lena texted again. "You've seen his GoFundMe, right? Excuse me?" She sent a link. Help a victim of domestic financial abuse rebuild his life. Goal, $10,000. According to the description, I'd isolated him, controlled his finances, and evicted him illegally after years of emotional manipulation. He needed money for a car, therapy, and photography equipment. Photography equipment? He couldn't even hold a steady job. I scrolled through the donations. $127 total. One anonymous comment read, "For therapy, you need it." He didn't stop there. By Friday, he'd turned to TikTok. The video began with him crying in a motel room, camera tilted just enough to show the rumpled bed behind him. He said he'd been made homeless for asking for privacy. It hit 50,000 views within 2 days. But social media can smell dishonesty like blood in the water. Top comment. "You're not homeless because you asked for privacy. You're homeless because you asked for privacy while cheating with Erica. There's a difference." The second highest. "Bro, she paid your rent. That's not abuse, that's a subsidy." The tide turned, fast. By the weekend, Patricia called again. Her voice different this time, older somehow. "She's had enough," she said. "Who?" "Me," she whispered. "Of this, of him. He's 28 years old and still behaves like a child who lost his favorite toy. Are you all right?" "No, but I'm learning to stop apologizing for his behavior." Then she told me something I didn't expect. "We found a program. It's like rehab, but for accountability. Teaches basic skills, budgeting, job training. It's in another state. We're giving him a choice, attend or be cut off completely." I exhaled. "Do you think he'll go?" "He doesn't have anywhere else left to go." For 2 days, there was quiet. I almost believed it was done. Then, late Wednesday night, 11:47 p.m., my doorbell camera pinged. There he was. Cole stood under the lobby lights, eyes rimmed red, wearing a hoodie I'd boxed up weeks ago. He didn't move, didn't buzz in, just stared at the camera like it might blink back. "I know you can see me," he said, voice low but clear enough for the mic. "I just want to talk." He started pacing. "I made mistakes, okay? But 3 years. 3 years should mean something. You were right about Erica, but it wasn't what you think. I was bored, that's all. You were always so stable, So boring." He laughed weakly. "But boring's good. I get that now. I need boring. Please, Marin. Just let me come home. It's cold, and I'm tired of motel beds." He looked straight into the lens. "I know you're listening. You always had those cameras recording. That's why I changed my password, so you wouldn't see the messages. I was trying to protect you. I didn't want you to get hurt." The mental gymnastics were Olympic level. Security stepped in before I had to. Through the speaker, a guard's voice cut clean. "Sir, you need to leave. The police are on their way." He startled, stumbled backward, then bolted into the night, the sound of his footsteps scattering down the block. I didn't sleep much after that. I sat by the window until dawn, watching the sun smear over the city, wondering how many ways a person could rewrite the same story to avoid facing themselves. Thursday afternoon, Patricia called again, quiet and spent. "He showed up here at 3 a.m., she said. "Richard wouldn't let him in. He slept in his car until sunrise." "I'm sorry you're dealing with that." "Don't be. We made him. Years of excuses, of bailing him out. Did you know he's been fired from his last 3 jobs? We covered the gaps. Never told anyone. It ends now. He starts the program next week. I hope it helps." "Me too. For everyone's sake." Friday morning, I opened my inbox to one last message, sent through LinkedIn, of all places. "I'm going away for a while. My parents are making me. I still think you overreacted, but whatever. I hope you're happy now. You won. Enjoy your stupid apartment and your boring life." I stared at it, then clicked archive. He was wrong about one thing. I hadn't won anything. I just stopped losing. The first week after the final message felt like detox. Every sound in the condo, washer spin, kettle whistle, the soft click of the new smart lock, registered as proof of quiet, proof that my world had shrunk back to its original shape. People talk about closure like it's something you find. Really, it's something you stop waiting for. 2 weeks passed without a single ping from an unknown number. The stillness felt strange at first, like my life was holding its breath. But gradually, I realized it wasn't silence. It was peace. I deleted the camera footage, except for the clip of him admitting to the camera that he'd changed his password to hide messages, not for revenge, just in case. A firewall for the future. The receipts folder stayed in my drive, untouched, but backed up twice. Proof isn't about pettiness. It's about never having to explain the same wound twice. By the 3rd week, the world remembered itself. Work emails, grocery lists, Friday dinners with Lena. Normalcy stitched itself back together. When she asked, "Do you ever miss him?" I told her the truth. Sometimes I missed the idea of him, the version that said good morning and remembered the coffee ratio, but that man lived in a story I wrote, not the one I was living. She nodded, slow. "That's fair." Saturday morning, sunlight cut across the rug we'd picked together. For months, I'd considered replacing it, but standing there, toes brushing its edge, I realized it had already become something else. Just fabric now. No ghosts left. The mail arrived with a Christmas card addressed in careful handwriting. The Bennetts. I turned it over twice before opening it. Inside was a folded note in Patricia's neat cursive. "Marin, he's in the program. Still blames everyone but himself, but he's there. Baby steps. Thank you for holding him accountable when we couldn't. Wishing you peace." Patricia and Richard. Peace. The word landed softly. I pinned the card to the fridge, not out of sentiment, but as a small memorial to the storm I'd survived. Sometimes I still think about that night, him under the lobby lights, asking for a home he'd already burned. I remember wanting to open the door, not out of love, but out of habit. The way you almost reach for a glass you've already dropped. But love that demands you shrink isn't love, it's leverage. And the only way to win is to stop playing. That realization didn't come with fireworks. It came in small, domestic quiets. A dishwasher humming at 12:01. The spreadsheet closing with every cell green. The sound of my own laughter when no one else was listening. I started new rituals. Sunday mornings, I walked to the pier with coffee, watched the ferries move across the harbor, and tried to imagine the future without his noise. It wasn't empty, it was wide. When Lena joked one afternoon, "So what's next, Saint Marine of Boundaries?" I laughed. No sainthood, just better filters. And I meant it. By January, the condo felt larger than it had ever been, not because space had grown, but because pressure had finally lifted. The air felt breathable. The walls held steady. Sometimes, when I pass the storage room in the lobby, I still think of the boxes I'd labeled. How final they looked under fluorescent light. The beginning of an ending disguised as organization. He wanted space. He got an entire universe of it. And me? I got something quieter, sturdier, harder to name. Not revenge, not triumph, just peace that hums. The kind that lives in the background. Off-peak dishwasher, kettle click, steady breath. The kind that doesn't ask to be praised because ballast never does.